holiday. This is PalmArt. So this is the spade boot, the royal palm frond. Wraps around the tree like this. Frond comes off there. I saw the frond off. If you want to learn how to saw off the frond of the spade, I have a 2-hour video on that. It's very thorough. But basically, like saw the frond. Y'all can do whatever you want with the frond. I've had limited use for it. So this is just me blabbering on, but you can see how the strips, they come in nice even pieces. It's very easy to do, especially when it's green like that. We get them green because it's nice and pliable. So now we have our strips. We have about maybe 20, maybe less. So you can see I have my cucumber weights, and I have a box, and I get all the strips lined up, and I really don't measure them very carefully. I just have a general idea. It's just me and the material, and I just cut it to length. Sometimes the ends taper off and they're not even, so I just get rid of those. And then over, under. Start in the middle there and work it down. See, I don't start right next to it. I just go, and this is an alternate weave, right? You stagger the different weaves and you bring them nice and tight, and you get another one. It's like 5 or 6 on each end. And then we just get a nice, see how I just stripped that nice thin piece? Did you see the stripping?
It's a lot of stripping, bro.
A lot of stripping in this. And so I just tuck it under one of the pieces there, and I weave that nice thin strip opposite around that, and you can see I just scrunch them all together, and I take that nice thin strip and I weave it opposite of the weave that it's next to. You'll see what I mean when you actually do this. And there's Buddy the Wonder Dog. I included that. And he disappeared because he's
a wonder dog.
Well, he keeps moving. That dog is busy. And so I just tuck it in the last piece there, and you can see that I have a nice placemat. And then you crimp the edges. I didn't show that. This video is...
You said crip?
No crip. Crimp.
All right, man.
And so I fold the edges, and so we got nice corners there. And then I just take a clothespin. You just need 2 clothespins and a pair of scissors. And I get a sort of thin piece, and I just start weaving around, start building my wall. And this is a challenging part. You're just going around and around. And of course, you can see my highlights in there. I don't know if you can see it in the previous. It looks like, does it really look like I have highlights?
Man, I know damn well you don't have highlights.
I would never, look at me. I dress like a slob. You think all this would come together and like, ooh, maybe I should do highlights.
You're in a trailer park, aren't you?
Well, this is a debris field. It could be Arkansas, but it's not. So I'm just weaving, and then for the top layer, I overlap a couple of times to get a nice thick top layer. And then I take the weave from the wall and I fold it inward, the one that goes over the top. Look at those highlights. I'm telling you, folks, that's totally natural. Oh yeah, basket weaving. So yeah, I just tuck it in between the walls there, and I trim it, give it a nice point, and I fold those over. And some that are on the inside, they get tucked in between the layers of the top and folded over in the same manner. So this is another detail video that we'll do. And see, nice square basket, very even. Actually came out pretty good. I just guessed all this other stuff. And now we have to have have to have a handle, right? You just can't have a basket. You got to carry stuff. So I just, instead of building the handle with it, I found it's easier just to get a couple stiff pieces, nice and thick.
Nice and stiff, too.
Yeah, stiff. And like 3 of them. And I cut them to length. And I'll trim them. And sometimes I'll split them and go the inside and, in between layers. So if you find that your piece is too thick, just split it and it can go in between the layers. And finally, my beautiful, gorgeous hair
All those highlights.
just got in the way, and
not letting the people see the highlights.
they've seen enough. They're here for the basket, I hope, and not the highlights. We'll do a highlight reel, folks. All the highlights, a director's cut. And so you can see I pierce the handles. They actually has to be physically pierced so they don't slip out. You can make it tight as you want, but unless you actually pierce through all 3 pieces and pierce it with another smaller piece and wrap that around, your handle's going to come apart. So you just wrap it around nice and tight like you would the bracelet. And that's another video. And I have that stinky cheese face. You see my face all the time. I'm just looking at
like you stepped on a nail.
Yes, it's something, It's like, ugh. So I just wrap it around. I almost did my Elmer Fudd. I wrap it around. Be very, very careful. And there's more details, but, it's a basket. There's lots of ways to do the basket. I'm just trying to show you that you can get something free on the side of the road that people are throwing away. It's recycled. It's biodegradable. It's very strong. It's durable. It's a lot of fun to work with. And you can return it to the earth. Make a bird's nest out of it. Or just set it on fire. It burns really well.
Very strong, too.
Yes. So I'm just finishing off nice touches. I do loops around the edge of the basket. And you can see I'm always shaping it with my hands when it's this wet. If you want to put a bunch of books in it or cans of soup or something and make it nice and flat, you can do that overnight. Once it dries, it keeps its shape. If it gets wet, then you can reshape it. And this was originally for Easter, but Jesus, I'm such a procrastinator.
It was a plague, bro. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day.